Well, good morning, good morning. Here we are, straight at the top of the hour. We made it 8:30. Here's the Casper. You can come up now. Come on, come on. There's a boy. There's a boy. Say hi. Good morning, good morning. It's 8:30. It's time with Coffee with Casper. We're glad you're here this morning. All right, nice to see you. From North Carolina, good to see you this morning. All right, from Honolulu, how beautiful. What a nice way to start. All the way across the sea and part way across the nation. Anyway, good morning from Palm Desert. That's pretty local yokel. From California. Good morning from Georgetown, Texas. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you from North Carolina. Jeff is back from North Carolina. Good to see you guys this morning. Good morning, good morning. So here we go. Let's gong ourselves in and see where our 20 minutes is going to take. You're on Coffee with Casper. I'm Harry Morgan Moses, and I'm sure glad you're here today. So here we go. Let's take a deep breath in. Let out that sound. One more time. Deep breath in. Let out the sound. And then let your energy float into your heart center. And we're just giving ourselves permission, allowing the shoulders to relax. We're giving ourselves permission to be here for these 20 minutes together, to see what kind of insights we might have as light workers in the world, meaning that we are each carrying our own personal light to transmute whatever seems to be happening in the outer world into that which is peace and poise and presence and power and joy and wisdom, and that all of those qualities are desperately needed in the human condition right now. And the reason that we have incarnated at this time is because we are the right people at the right time, capable of doing the right thing. And what's really important is that we, as Ernest Holmes said in his beautiful poetry, that we see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality. And then it is seeing through that mist and carrying that eternal and changeless reality into our day-to-day lives that is helping to transform the planet and to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. When that happens at the point of critical mass, we will begin to see a whole new way of finding peace and harmony and goodwill as the avenue through which we solve challenges in the world, as opposed to war and fear and destruction, etc., etc., etc. So here's what I'd like to work on with you today. Good morning from Arizona. All right, good morning from Oregon. All right, nice to see you all this morning. So there's a great quote from Carl Jung. Carl Jung, of course, was the wonderful psychologist who was a student originally of Freud's and then broke off. And ultimately in his life, when he asked, why did you break off from your teacher? The answer was, he said, because ultimately I believe there really is a soul. That each one of us really has this immortal self of ourselves, this I am, as we would recognize it, the I am that I am, that is the energy, that is energy and matter that are equal and interchangeable, that is the intelligence that you see in anything and in everything. Again, the philosopher Ernest Holmes had a wonderful line that he shared in the early about 100 years ago. He started sharing this stuff. He says, thank God the God that is believed in isn't. Thank God the God that is believed in isn't. Now let's take a look at that in comparison to this wonderful quote from Carl Jung, which was shared on Facebook by my friend, the Reverend Carol Huntley, who is currently living in the UK with her husband. And that's a wonderful thing. And just had a new grandbaby. So all of the fun stuff happening. From South Carolina. We've got South Carolina and North Carolina in the field today. How wonderful. So here's the quote from Dr. Jung. He says, if our religion is based on salvation, our chief emotions will be fear and trembling. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude. So this is the what I call, one of my friends and teachers, Dr. Edith Stauffer, used to say, is some people have an allergy to the word God. And that goes to that quote that said, Thank God the God that is believed in isn't. This is a God of wrath, a God of fear, a God of judgment, a God that needs pleasing. This kind of God is it's the old man, the old white guy in the sky that Michelangelo painted, touching the hand of man, meaning symbolized by Jesus. God is not an old white guy in the sky. God is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, that which is at the center of the divine male and also the center of the divine female, that which is the yin and the yang, that which is perfect balance, perfect harmony, that which is energy, which is eternal, cannot die, and only changes form. This is a much bigger idea of God. And yet we still are oftentimes afraid of the word God. We don't like the word God. We have an allergy to the word God. And I think it's important that we rise above that, because you have to be able to bring the old so that you understand that the old was pointing its way. God is not something to read about or to be told about. This I am that I am needs to be experienced. God needs to be experienced as the self, and this is the deep work that you and I as light workers are doing, is always remembering that this thing that we call God is what I am. I am a holographic slice of this thing that is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, the end, the source of all intelligence, the source of all love, and it created itself out of love. The impulsion of the universe is love. And if you're God, if you're transposing all of the things that are God into love, this impulsion of love, trying to express itself, trying to find in the upward forward spiral, trying to find an ever greater expression of itself. And again, what we're looking to do, we've talked about this before, we're looking to get to the place where we have two qualities of love operating in us at all time. The first quality of love is this Rachma love, which is the universal love. Love you like a rock. I love all things that exist. I love the trees. I love the wood that's in the trees. I love the wood that makes the deck. I love the rocks that are under my feet. We can love everything because we see that everything is animated by this same life force. We even at the level of plant and mineral, rocks are vibrating. They keep themselves together as rocks. Plants are moving always toward seeking more life, toward sun, toward that which brings more life. And then we keep going up, and then we see the consciousness in a simple consciousness in an animal, and then we see the self-consciousness that emerges at the level of you and me. We become aware of ourselves, and that self-consciousness is the power that enables us to use our thoughts and feelings to create. So if our religion is based on salvation, we'll be based in fear, a God of wrath and punishment, and can I please so that I can get to the Holy Land. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude. I have 2 5-year-old grandchildren, and one of them is just fascinated with any kind of animal or insect or whatever, and he finds such wonder in a bug, and he'll look at the bug and chat with the bug and be in tune with the bug and be in awe of the bug and grateful that he's found this bug to be in relationship with for this short period of time. This is the awe that is natural. It's the childhood awe that's natural in all of us. And when we begin to live in love and awe, we begin to become grateful for all of the beauty that is around us, for all of the good fortune that's happening, even for the simple holy breath that flows through my body. We become grateful, right? We become more in tune and more grateful. Let me know where you are. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm glad you're here. You're watching with Coffee with Casper. We're on every Tuesday at 8:30. Of course, our friends in Norway and the UK, it's a different time of day whenever you see. But wherever you are, we're welcome here. And all we ask you to do if you get something beneficial from our time together is simply to share it. take this video and share it on any of your networks, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're connecting and using social media. Share Coffee with Casper, and we are getting more and more viewers all of the time. And the purpose of getting viewers is to let the light workers, each of us who is a light worker, let our light shine. And then as light knows itself and identifies itself, we begin to co-create more and more light in the world, in a thirsty world that is looking for light to transcend the darkness and bring forth this possibility of a world that works for everyone through a new understanding of our true and eternal nature. And that needs to happen in mass consciousness. And when we hit critical mass, we will begin to see all of these divisions fall away. And as I've already said, new pathways of harmony and joy and wisdom, etc. So what we don't want to do, good morning from Boise. Nice to see you. Idaho in the picture today. What we don't want to do is throw out everything old because we don't like the word God, or throw out all the Bibles because we don't like an interpretation of the Bible. All of these sacred scriptures have their meaning and their place. Good morning from Sri Lankan. They are hospitality friends. Oh, they are Mithila, Disha, Shivan, Bimtha, and our teachers, Mr. Roshan, all in the hospitality business. Wow. Hope you can pronounce them. Well, I thank you, Dilip. I hope I did it justice. And isn't that wonderful? Everybody's growing forward, learning new skills, finding ways to bring their light into the world in a new way. And of course, as the Dalai Lama says, the easiest ways to do that is to practice kindness. The Dalai Lama says, my religion is kindness. So I did a memorial the other day, and these days one has to show up in service any way you can. And for many, many years, and including just the other day, the 23rd Psalm is in my service book. And I like the 23rd Psalm, but I was talking to a group of souls. Imagine people are in grief, people have their allergies about God, or they have their very specific ways. You have to do God my way or no other way. And our working with universal truth is more inclusive than that. We open ourselves up in a bigger way to see universal principles that belong to all people, all nations, all races, all creeds, all ways of being. And the universe, of course, has no favorites. There is no favorite in the universe. Each one is the beloved of the Most High, and therefore each and every one is the favorite. What happens is our own self-identity needs to recognize that we are that loved by the universe. So anyway, the 23rd Psalm, you all know it. So I'm doing the memorial and I'm reading the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the quiet waters. He restoreth my soul. And all of a sudden, as I'm reading this ancient scripture, it's so masculine oriented. I recognize that many of the older people, and even some of the younger people, have never translated, have never realized that a God that used to be spoken of as only masculine is not the God that is. God is the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, that which is the full potential of all ends of the spectrum. God is the giver of all life, love, and beauty. God is the seed, the soil, and the plant. God is the semen, God is the womb, God is the baby. It's all God. Everything is God. As my friend Walter Starkey wrote in his book, It's All God. It's all God, from the flowers to the fertilizer. So what we're doing is finding our relationship in this. So what I found as I was reading the 23rd Psalm is I kept hearing myself say the word he, thinking I need to translate that. I need to know that we're not talking about a dominant God who only... No, look at what it says. God the father-mother principle has created us to lay down in the green pastures, to rest by the quiet waters, to be restored and renew in my breath every day. This yin and this yang, this giver of all life, this beauty, right? It's not a masculine principle, so we shouldn't throw the scripture out because we didn't realize that the language of the day and the translations into English of the day and all of those things were all based on a language that we would today, in 2021, we would find that a patriarchal language and try to find ways to soften it. And I already transpose, whenever I hear all these masculine terms, I transpose them into my beloved, into the giver of all life, into the I am that I am. It's the I am that restores my soul, that is my soul, that guides me into the paths of divine right action, that even though each one of us is this parentheses in eternity, we're here from the now here to the nowhere, right? And we don't know that death is but a shadow. And so even though we go through the shadow, we are still alive, awake, aware, and we are restored and renewed. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death and know no thing that isn't life-giving. Evil is the word life, live turned around, right? And know no thing that isn't life-giving. That the love of God and the law of God, the rod and the staff, that keeps me on my path, that guides me into right action, these are all loving qualities from the divine, written about in old languages, hoping, as Bishop Shelby Spong, bless his soul, used to say, my religion doesn't reveal God, it moves me in the direction of the great mystery of God. What I always talk about is the finite does not absorb the infinite. The finite can be with the infinite, this great mystery of infinite love, infinite compassion, infinite goodness, infinite exploding into creativity. This is too big for the mind of humanity to grasp, for the brain mind to grasp. We need to open our heart, open our being, and be with it, not seek to grasp it, right? And therefore, if we're calling God source, or if we're calling God energy, or we're calling God the beloved, or it really doesn't matter what you call God. It is your relationship with God. The challenge is that the word God has been the symbol for this incomprehensible magnificence and or the thing to fear for so long that it's very hard to get the word God out of the vernacular and or to have to translate your understanding of the divine as God to everybody you talk to. So my recommendation is, if you have an allergy to the word God, let it go. Start to heal from it. Start to do that transposing that allows this God that is the giver of all life, love, and beauty to be with you, to discover it in a new way, rather than always defending our allergy or our understanding of God, because our awareness is going to shift as we grow. As we spiral upward, the vista gets larger, we see more, we understand more, we can then be in the world as a greater presence of love. These are all the ways in which we can be with that which is this universal energy, that which is the I am that I am. And again, this is why I say we practice stilling the mind through our meditation. My mantra is meditate. My mantra is I am. I simply put the I am in my mind and in my heart, and I just stay there in the I am. And the mantra is not the meditation. It's the gap between the mantras that opens me to this larger field to be with it, not to try to comprehend it. And then through that commingling with the divine, I can then use my mind and my heart to direct it toward the things I'm creating, toward solving mortgages, toward finding the right house, toward getting the right car, toward being in the right relationship, toward healing your body. All of these things are possible when we are relaxing, trusting, and inviting the wisdom of the divine into our lives every day. You are a light worker. Invite that wisdom into your life. Bring it out into the world as kindness. Bring it out into the world as optimism. Bring it out into the world as a possibility for a greater good. And your light is making a huge difference in the awakening of humanity. And awakening humanity and doing our part in it is what we have come here to do. Of course, to be awakened ourselves, and then to share that with that which is the I am, which is the I am in everybody. You've been watching Coffee with Casper. We'll be back next Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time, and we will look forward to seeing you then. Until we see each other again, I invite you to go in the light, as the light, and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Bye for now. Casper, come on up. What you eating over there? You eating my plant? Come on up. Come on, come on, come on. One more time. That boy. Say goodbye to everybody. We'll see you next week on Coffee with Casper.